Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Economy and Politics Show. We'll be discussing developments around the economy as it affects the populace. Today, 25th of January 2020. And we'll be discussing around 2021, the prospects for the growth of MSMEs in Nigeria. As we all know, that micro, small and medium enterprises are the drivers of the economy. And if they're doing well, the economy will also do well because they create jobs and also help to drive the economy. We meet to have this conversation this new year, spirit of the new year. First time for this new year, we've been having him for last year. It's Mr. Seye Olurotimi. He's the founder and president of MSME Africa, taking the frontiers of MSME development across the continent. Nice to have you on the show, and once again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mr. Otuabasi, and thank you for having me on the show once again.
Yes, thank you
It's
very
good
much.
to be here.
Yeah, good to have you join us again. And let us begin with one space of the policy that's going to be very important for the micro, small, and medium enterprise, and that's monetary policy. A lot has been said that is going to play a very key role this year in the sense of how it plays out will support its growth and unlock opportunities for the MSME. So I'll first ask you, when you look at the whole fact that beginning from today and into Tuesday 26th, we'll have the Monetary Policy Committee meeting where the Central Bank of Nigeria will take decisions. How do you see monetary policy environment this year? There's a talk about the fact that it's accommodative so far, but it may at a point stop in terms of being accommodative to being a tightened level of policy. What do you see happening in that regard as it affects MSMEs this year?
Okay, we have to just probably break it down a bit. Monetary policies are some sort of measures and policies in place by the Central Bank of a country to control money supply and address economic issues. And they use various tools to achieve this, like the interest rate, the reserve rate, and some other things, some other tools that the CBN could use.
Yes.
The central bank of that country could use to stimulate economic growth or just to address some imbalance in the economy. And then talking about Nigeria, observers have actually said that CBN is probably one of the most cooperative regulators and policymakers that have actually been working to help the MSMEs and the real sector. So I want to give kudos to them for that. And of course, that does not mean they should rest on their oars. Let's look at the particular monetary policy they implemented, for instance. That's the loan to deposit ratio that was implemented, I think it was May 2019.
Yes.
And as a result of that policy, banks were forced to lend more to MSMEs and the real sector. And I read the report says that within a period of 18 months, we had about 3.97 trillion rise in bank credits. And that's a very, very big one, 3.97 trillion, because of that particular policy. So that's how big the impact of monetary policy could be on the economy, on sectors that are affected by such policies. So going into 2021, I expect that CBN will do a lot more with regards to policies around interest rates, policies around deposit ratio. Still, even this LGR, they will do something around it, then some open market operations. And I also expect them to do some level of moral suasion, to talk to players within the economy, the banks, for instance, so they could do a lot more than they are doing. We cannot rule out the place of moral suasions. Of course, regulation should come in, but we should do moral suasion. And if that happens, I expect that there will be price stability, because inflation is a big, big issue. Some days ago, the inflation figure was up 15%.
Yes, 15 plus percent now.
I can't remember
15 plus.
I think it's between 15 and 16.
15, yes, it's around 15
plus. So that
plus.
is a big problem. So that is a big problem. So I expect that the monetary policy will help us to ensure price stability so that we don't have problem. Every household is complaining the price of everything has gone up, and because of that, it has a multiplier effect. School fees have gone up, transport is gone up. So monetary policy will ensure price stability. It will also help to ensure increase in employment, because when the MSME benefit, they will employ people. When they reach the benefit, they will employ people. So there will be increased employment. There will also be stable economic growth. I expect that when we have the real, when we have good monetary policies in place, and then there will be adequate funding for the different sectors that need them. So I expect a lot of that to happen. I expect credit to the real sector. I expect that there will be price stability, and then there will be growth in employment rate.
Okay.
That's what I foresee.
Very well said. And when you look at the foreign exchange policy, that's one very key area that will also impact businesses. You know that we face currency pressures currently in the country, and there's a call to adopt a flexible foreign exchange regime, even though some economists also believe that there should be a managed floating of the exchange rates at this moment. The central bank has acknowledged the need to move to that level of allowing the convergence in terms of the foreign exchange, whereby it addresses the issues of arbitrage. What do you think should be the approach in this regard? Because it also impacts businesses, the foreign exchange management.
Yeah, let's give credit to the CBN once again. But they tried a lot to ensure we have stable forex rate for a long time, but you can only manage for a limited time. When the other parameters are saying that this is not the rate of the naira, there is nothing you can do. You probably have to just bow to some extent because of demand and supply. That's what happened. But at the same time, I wouldn't say CBN should just totally let go and so that we witness a free fall. Let it be some level of regulation, but at the same time, let's watch the force of demand and supply. So I think it should be a cautious one. Watch what is happening, and then when there is the free fall, you know, the impact is going to be terrible. Then you have to come and do some level of regulation.
Okay, so in a clear sense, you support the managed floating level, which of course you say is helping to watch the situation, being cautious.
I want to support that.
Okay, all right. So let's look at in terms of regulations for businesses. The Corporate Affairs Commission this year is already taking shape and is upgrading its software to accommodate the adjustments in the CAMA 2020 Act that was signed by the President last year. Is built to enhance and ease the process for registration of businesses, and it's also going to be a form of improving our ease of doing business measures in the country. I guess you've gone through it, the section 867 of the company regulations, which the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment has now appended to and agreed that it should take effect this year. How will this help to improve businesses, MSMEs, bring them more to the formal sector? And what do you expect to see more happen from the CSE in facilitating this?
Yeah, okay, so CSE plays a pivotal role in the economy. And for any business to take serious, the very first point of call for you is to have a business analyzed. And that's by registering with CSE. I mean, when it comes to Nigeria. And CAMA 2020 is a very huge blessing. But I tell people around me that it would be so much of a blessing if the implementation is not tight. And so I want to thank CBN, CAC for steps they have taken. Recently they had to shut down their portals for some time, and then when they came back, we have what we call the end-to-end company registration, which is a very big one. What it means is that you can start your company registration virtually and finish it virtually end-to-end. And also, there is no need for you to go to CSE office to pick up your company registration certificate or wait for a dispatch company to bring it. You can print your certificate now, and it will be on your dashboard. So that's huge. That would ensure that as possible you eliminate intermediaries, and then the time it takes for you to register a company is reduced. There are also supporters pre and post-posting corporation services. What that also means that I'm registering company, if I need to change a director, for instance, instead of going through the hassle of my company secretary, they have to carry files there and there. I can actually change my company that's online. If I just put in all the necessary things I'm meant to do and then authenticate it, I can do all of that. I can do a couple of things. And then part of all the provision of CAMA 2020 is also the fact how it is now. We can register limited partners. Just one person can run a company, unlike when you could do as a one man is have a business name. So these are actually the improvements I also like the fact that when you do set for companies, now you don't just get the company, you can get details about the promoters of the company. You can get to know about the status of the company, so you can know if the company is active or inactive. So those are huge advancement, and I think we should keep it up. But like you say, implementation is another thing. I don't want to get there next week and you still tell me that there is a part of it that I can't do by myself because the server is down, or I still need somebody else to stand at the tout in between, like an intermediate have. If you actually follow this to the letter, I mean, everybody will be happy. I can register a company seamlessly, and that would, of course, push up our ease of doing business index radically. So it's a good one. We should just ensure that implementation is tight also.
Very, very well said, because like what you were just saying right now, the implementation is very critical. So we will be monitoring to see how this happens, and then feedbacks will really help to show how effective these new adjustments from the CAC in alignment with the CAMA 2020 Act signed will impact business services. Let's get on to the Finance Bill 2020.
Yeah, and if I can quickly add something to that. Sorry.
Okay, you can go on.
I can quickly add something. I also noticed from the angle of I started training some people about this new the new interface already coming, but it's physical training, and I'm asking myself, how many people can they train this way? We'll probably train people that are registered agents to them. I think there should be a way of, if you want to do a 10-15 minutes video, that's every user of the portal, so that before I log into the portal, I have like a 5-minute video that tells me what to do, what to do. I think that is better than having physical training that probably only a few number of people can benefit from. So that's another area they should look at.
Okay, CSC should just do like a demo showing steps to take in doing that, so that anybody that wants to visit the site can see
Exactly.
It's very interactive. Very nice idea from you, Mr. Seye Olurotimi.
I think that would be quite helpful.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice to get such very innovative approach, which is part of regulations. Innovation is also there to improve and serve the community, which in this regard is the micro, small, and medium enterprises and other businesses along the value chain. But let's look at the Finance Bill 2020. It's also designed to create an enabling environment for small businesses, whether it's from the micro to even the large enterprises. And some of the interesting features, of course, which you will be aware of, is that those companies or businesses that have less than 25 million naira turnover in terms of profit and all that would be exempted from the tertiary fund tax. There's a minimum tax reduction for about 0.25% for companies, and there are other adjustments being made. In overall, how do you describe this bill? Is it really helping again the growth of MSMEs amidst the challenging macroeconomic indicators?
Yeah, it definitely will enhance the fortune of MSMEs, and I think it's just Finance Bill 2020 is an answer to the many prayers of MSMEs, at least some of the prayers of MSMEs. The fact that based on the volume of transaction I do, I'm exempted from some level of tax, VAT, company income tax, and some other taxes. Quite helpful. And even MSMEs are exempted based on almost from paying the statutory 2% education tax and some other levies. I think it's a good one. And I think also there's also the pioneer status in the agri sector. You don't pay tax, and then after you can even extend it by another 2 years. Those are good parts of the Finance Bill 2020. And then even because MSMEs are people that some of the people employ don't get much. So anybody that has less than 30,000 also will not be liable to personal income tax. So that will ensure that your taxes are happier with you because you're not deducting their money because they're not earning so much. There is also reduction in import duties on some products, including cars and then some agricultural equipment. There's no VAT when you do top land and purchase the buildings. What it means is that when I'm paying the rent for office space, it doesn't have VAT. These are good ones, they are good initiatives, but like we keep talking about, implementation is very key. and then dissemination of information about how these things operate.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are still confused, even accountant, tax, of these things. So we need to drive it down to the grassroots. Let people know what and what this means and how they operate, what the changes are with regards to this thing. And then I also think there is a level of concession. So windows were open for MSMEs and businesses generally by FIs and LRS and some other it's actual compliance. I think they should also give them some more windows right now the next 3 months for them to really get used to this new thing in place and then be able to put their books in order, because I wouldn't expect that government would now start going after tax defaulters right now and then before everybody looks like these guys are all they care about is just enforcing and enforcing. Let's have some more window for them. Their books in order, get this new finance bill, and I believe there will be more money in the coffers of the government because it will be easier for them to pay tax.
Yeah, concessions. Federal Inland Revenue Service, definitely. Our tax masters, federal and state, are listening. So I will expect that they will bring out some statements much later this month on the approach. And we hope, like you said, there will be concessions because we're still in this very challenging phase. And that brings us to our next point. Of course, we know that the COVID pandemic has entered its second wave and it's really hitting global economy, including Nigeria. We're still in a recession. But what are those sectors that show those prospects of growth and activities where anyone now that is in the micro, small, and medium enterprise listening will say, okay, I mean, we can really explore these areas, or the financial institutions can say would finance and take measures to support?
Okay, so I don't have a crystal ball. Actually, I mean, from what we've observed over time,
yes.
Say some sectors will actually, and top priority on the list, top number one is anything that's tech driven will do well. Tech research will do well. And if you think tech powers different sectors, tech powers are great, tech powers, and tech powers education. So any business that tech driven, I think they will do well as we recover from COVID and recession, hopefully by the first, second quarter of 2021. So tech-driven businesses and also tech become an expert. Now people do a lot of things online. We have to do a lot of things.
So e-commerce is also a big thing.
To do this. Now we're doing it virtually. We are doing a lot of things virtually. And so tech, telex, ISPs, they will also do well. So we're asking how can MSME space play in that sector? They can actually do a lot of things, or probably align with players in that sector and see what they can just latch on to and make money from it. MSME might not be able to telco, but they can latch on to some part of the version of the telco guys and see what they can benefit from it. I also see e-commerce doing well. People are comfortable staying back at home now and then placing orders on the different e-commerce platform because of their restrictions on going out here and there. E-commerce, logistics, and courier services, I think they should do well. They should do well. Conferences will do well. Agri sector, because no matter what happens, COVID recession or recession, every man will still eat.
Yes.
I mean, the base of life, food, clothing, and shelter is what man tries to meet. To food business, what we say food and agri, you don't have to be farming. There are 1,000,001 other things along the value chain, processing, the salvation. I mean, a lot of things that we can. So the agri value chain, I think there are a lot of prospects in that. And workspaces for people, I think you can do well, because right now I get a lot of requests from people who are saying we don't want our staff to come all the way to our office. We have a hub in Kenya for people around that place to get out maybe once in a week and then from it. That's for people who have challenges operating from home because of telecom services or internet or whatever. So hubs and then Some other smaller workspaces, I think that's another area we should look at. Telemedicine particularly would sell because people don't want to come in contact with patients. So if you do telemedicine at this point, it would sell where people tell you their symptoms and then you
diagnose them and get to know what the ailment is. Hubs, logistics, agric, e-commerce, tech-driven businesses would be the key thing to watch in the year 2021 as Nigeria seeks to recover.
Cleaning and hygiene, very, very important. Cleaning, hygiene, if you sell sanitizers, if you sell cleaning equipment, cleaning materials, because people are trying to ensure that they are not exposed to germs and viruses. So those areas, I think, are areas I think MSME should look at.
Okay, well, that's very important. So a lot, tech, agric, and in tech is a huge value chain. In agric, also there's the opportunities, logistics is also there, cleaning and hygiene. And of course, these are big sectors to explore for MSMEs to rearrange and realign their operations. Let's look at the ease of doing business. Nigeria's target is to be top 100, and that target was between 2020 and 2021. We're still heading to that. We're still working tirelessly to achieve that. But for this year, what should be the core focus of the federal and state governments in improving our ease of doing business for micro, small, and medium enterprises? What are those top 3 or 4 things that are important to address?
Okay, so when it comes to ease of doing business, last year we moved from 146 to 131. I mean, we jumped 15 steps. That's a good one. But when you also consider the fact that this is between 190, I mean, we are looking at about 190 countries and we are still 131. So that tells us there's still a lot of job to be done. But we should commend the office of the vice president, who actually is the one doing most of the driving for the ease of doing business initiatives. So when you ask what are the areas the government should look at, I think number one, we should look at creating hubs that will ensure that we can really cut down on overheads. Overhead is a major problem for MSMEs. So when you have clusters and hubs where they can come together and they have access to electricity, they have access to the other infrastructure at minimal cost, that is a very big advantage. I know there is a fashion hub that the VP came to open some months ago in Ikeja. There are some other hubs here and there, but we need to have a lot more of this, such that in those hubs you have infrastructure, you have the factors of production that are quite cheap and affordable and easily accessible. So
which drives down the cost of business.
I don't have to provide my own generator, my own water supply, my own this, my own that. If there are hubs for people in particular sectors, I think that's one area government should start looking at. Then I think they should also look at the area of removing ambiguity and ensuring transparency when it comes to some of these policies in place, because that's another area that has not allowed ease of doing business. When you have regulation and I'm not clear about it, and I have to ask people, and along the line I end up with a tout who is asking when I'm supposed to pay for something, I end up paying 40,000 because I've been told that I cannot directly go ahead and access that thing. Somebody has to stand in between for me to get my driver's license, to get my NAFDAC license, to get this and that. So there should be more transparency and reduction in ambiguity for us to ensure that there is more ease in doing business. That's number 2. And I think we should have more friendly regulation with human face. The regulators like the CBN, SEC, NAFDAC should put a lot of human face to their regulation so that they don't scare people away and they don't make life difficult. I saw the new fintech regulation, so to say, the new mobile net.
From the central bank.
Payment operators.
From central bank.
Yeah, from the central bank. And I'm saying, don't scare these guys away. If you look, you're talking about the sector that is thriving right now, is actually the fintech sector. They are the ones attracting most of the investment into the country. And now we are regulating, not regulating, but please let's have what are restricting the fintech operators to some areas and you have to drop some they are doing. That might not be too good. Let them have a regulation, but let it be fair and friendly. So that's an area we should look at. And there should be monitoring and evaluation for all the policies and interventions government has put in place.
MSMEs are very critical to the country. Like stated earlier, they are major contributors to our GDP. We have over 40 million MSMEs in the country. We also have them as major source of job creation. And we are in a time where our unemployment rate in Nigeria is 27.1%. We are still grappling with our growth, which is minus 3.62%, a recession mode, and also grappling with inflation that's over 15% now. So definitely, how MSMEs reposition themselves is very, very important at this time. And so just taking some key excerpts from what he has said, that is need for hubs to be created, hubs that are concentrated on MSMEs. So for example, like he listed, the fashion hub in Lagos, focus only on fashion. You have all the infrastructure, enabling infrastructure, from power to even water provided, security. Those are very important things that should be looked at this year to enable businesses and enable MSMEs thrive. Also, the issue of transparency in regulation and the approach of regulators is very important. There's no need for ambiguity, there's need for clarity to ensure that MSMEs know where they're going and continue to carry out their activities effectively. There's also the need for a friendly regulatory approach. He emphasized that today. We have regulators like the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria. There's need also for a friendly regulatory approach. The Central Bank of Nigeria issued its guidelines, a regulatory approach for payment services, part of the fintech space. He wants this fintech space to be encouraged by regulators like the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Also, we have what he talked about, the need to monitor and evaluate interventions. And I can tell you that there are several interventions that this administration has carried out just to support micro, small, and medium enterprises. So it's very important that there's M&E in place as monitoring and evaluation. MSME survival funds, particularly at 75 billion naira. There's a youth development fund also. There's also the central bank interventions rolled out for MSMEs during the outbreak of COVID. So effective evaluation of how it's impacting the real sector is very important. And finally, he talked about collaboration. And this is between government and private sector. It's very important because collaboration is key. In a time like this, government can't do it alone. Private sector needs to come in. And we've seen what private sector has done to financial institutions and even private individuals who have organizations, carrying out various accelerators, funding various initiatives designed to grow and support micro, small, and medium enterprises. Some of them have carried out 2-3 years now entrepreneurship programs. Some are also state-led, but again, private sector collaboration is very, very important for MSMEs to move forward and make impact. So from what Mr. Seye has said, it's very clear that it's good. It's a year of opportunities, but how we leverage partnerships and how we manage our policy environment will be very key in the year. And we'll continue to monitor that space. And we hope to have Mr. Seye Olurotimi once again in the course of the year to discuss around MSMEs. We lost him due to connectivity challenges, but definitely we'll have him once again in subsequent editions. That'll be all for the Economy and Politics show today. You know now that micro, small, and medium enterprises are key drivers of the economy, but key things have to be in place for them to unlock growth. And for you to get more insights and information around this, log on to our website, www.proshareng.com. And when you get to our website, we have variety for you. MSME startups, we have MSME regulations and policy, we have stories captured around what's happening in that space, all designed for you to get information on what's happening in entrepreneurship in Nigeria. You can also follow us at Ecopolitics NG at WebTV NG. Send your views and comments around what will be the key things that will help to unlock growth in MSMEs this year in Nigeria. Send it to news@proshareng.com. We'll be glad to receive your comments and respond appropriately. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.